Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Back in Action, starring Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz as a mom and dad who are secretly spies. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 16. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Right, Joan? Kindle Unlimited. It's free, Joan. You don't have to pay for it. You're a dog. You don't pay for anything. You're a little freeloader. Anyhow, you could pretty much hear the screenplay after I gave you the pitch, right? Mom and dad are secretly spies. I mean, the stunts look cool. That's a very cool stunt there. I like Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. They're both pretty good in various movie roles, but this seems tired. January 17th. The whole subgenre is very tiring. PG-13. And what's the subgenre? Well, it's normal people who it turns out are super spies, right? So you got Bob Odenkirk and Nobody. What was the other one? There's been like a million of them. You know. Even John Wick is kind of down that way. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is very similar. You've got all these spy movies. And the thing is, it's just an excuse now for characters to shoot at each other. That's it. That's the only reason it's there. There's no cool political, geopolitical stuff going on. Like, at least in James Bond, you know, the impression was it was the Soviet Union, which was, you know, a legitimate villain. Now the world is way more complicated than that, but you still have notable villains on the world stage you could use for a movie like this. Will they use them? Oh, no way. Because the main villain is China. China is still communist, as we all know. And because it's communist, there's no reason not to assume they are the enemy. They wish to take over. But because I think China has its hooks deep in Hollywood and U.S. media, you'll never see that. They also want to be able to play this movie in China, and there's no way it'll play in China if there's like a squad of CCP agents trying to kill these two characters. No way. No way the Chinese would allow the movie in. They won't even allow movies in about ghosts for some reason. So, who's that leave you with? Well, you could do the Russians. Now the Russians are kind of an enemy, but it's not the same as it in Soviet Union times. You could maybe do the North Koreans, but they're not as strong. They're an ally of the Chinese. They might not like it. You could do the Iranians. Sure. Again, they seem to be more capable of late. But part of the problem is Hollywood and the military are like this now. Hollywood wants to use aircraft carriers, jets, and tanks and stuff for its movies. And the Pentagon is more than happy to oblige if they get approval of the screenplay. On top of that, you have the example of Argo, right? If you've ever seen the movie Argo, it's about the CIA using Hollywood in order to save the hostages in Iran. It was an operation. But the CIA that wasn't a one-off. The CIA is also got its hooks in Hollywood. And this is a real problem. It's going to make the stories impossible to tell in any kind of realistic manner. Now, this isn't a very realistic screenplay. It's comedy, action. A lot of one-liners here. I mean, if you check your brain at the door and you haven't seen a lot of these movies, it'll be fine. I'm sure you'll like it. For me, though, I don't know, maybe I know too much. Maybe I just am sick of these movies. Just because you're a spy doesn't automatically make you a unstoppable killing machine. And Cameron Diaz has a line in this, "Oh, I feel alive again," because she gets to kill guys again. Yeah, I mean, that all scans, but it's all been done before. This sort of subgenre is very tiresome now, in my view. They've done it too many times. And too many times in Hollywood, I guess because there's so much connection to the military and the CIA, the dialogue seems to, even in a movie not with characters related to the CIA or the military, people use military lingo in the dialogue, which I've noticed over the years. So, would I watch this? Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to see it. I know every beat of this movie. First act, Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz are mom and dad, and they're kind of boring, and they're living their lives, and the kids think, oh, what a couple of boring people. Oh, but they're not boring, because one day, some dudes show up at a gas station and try to kill him, and Jamie and Cameron spring into action, and they easily defeat these guys. And their kids are like, what is going on? Eventually they tell them, we used to be in the CIA, and these guys are trying to kill us. So, second act, they contact their CIA guys, and they're told, you got to come back for one last mission. And so they squirrel away the kids and then go on one last mission to defeat the evil whatever he is. Again, probably some nameless terrorist from some made-up organization that doesn't have any connection to the real world. Again, Bond did that too, but the implication was always the Soviets. And sometimes Soviet characters were sort of in the mix, or they had a Russian accent, so it was clearly Soviet. These days, you could tie it into various geopolitical events if you wanted to. Imagine these two characters, they've been retired for 20 years, and now there's one last guy. It turns out he planned 9/11 or something. He's the real guy behind 9/11. I don't think Hollywood would greenlight stuff like that. They would change that. We don't want to piss people off. And that's, it's a comedy action movie. I understand why they don't want to piss people off. They want to appeal to the broadest range of people. But when you're doing spy stuff and you soften it to the point where it's just a tour de force of stunts and one-liners, it doesn't have any impact. It's boring to me. There's no real stakes here. The ending, they beat the bad guy and they live. The end. And maybe we'll get a sequel. So, and these characters are overpowered. And I could tell just in the trailer. And it's not that, again, I like this kind of stuff. Normally, if you'd done this movie 20 years ago, I'd be like, that looks cool. But so many of these characters are completely overpowered. They're unstoppable killing machines. They take on, 5 guys and easily beat them all. And, it's no problem. It's not a problem. And then at the end, there's like 50 guys. So, I don't know. It's just time to retire this genre for a while. And do anything else. Or do something different with it. I'm secretly a spy all this time. You could turn that on its head and make the spy the bad guy, right? He worked for, it turns out he worked for the CIA, and he keeps killing people. Or, like a regular character has to beat the spy guy. Something like that. That would be a fun and different kind of movie. But there's a problem with that too. If you've got CIA stuff in a movie, the CIA doesn't like you to make CIA characters look bad or look incompetent or whatever. They don't like that. Will that get approved? Maybe not. And it might not be that particular project. It may be that the studio has other things lined up where they do need more military equipment or permission from the Pentagon or the CIA. And they'll say, do not greenlight this movie or you're endangering the other projects. So, art has to have a certain amount of honesty in it. Even in a, bubblegum comedy action thing starring Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. And when you take that out of it, it just kind of makes it, you sense the phoniness in it. It's like eating a cheap cookie. Is the cookie good? Yeah, it's not bad. It's some kind of aftertaste that doesn't quite sit right with you. And you notice that at the end, and then you go, yeah, I'm not going to have any more. And too many of these movies come out of Hollywood, and that's what people are saying now. Like, why am I going to go all the way to the theaters, pay $14 a ticket, God knows what else for snacks? You're looking at minimum, I would say, a $50 deal for two people at a movie theater these days, if you get snacks. And it's just outrageous. For what you're getting, you have to be subjected to a half an hour of commercials. And even on streaming here, like, this is the kind of movie, once the stunts run themselves out, maybe I slog through it to just get to the end. Maybe. If the dialogue is written well enough, it seems okay. It seems very mid to me. And that's a shame because Jamie Foxx, really good actor, Cameron Diaz, very appealing. There is a million different ways you could do an action movie with these two as a couple and make it fun and interesting. Doing the whole spy thing, it's almost immediately like check the box, check the box, check the box to me. So, nah, I just wouldn't line this up in my queue. Maybe if my queue is completely empty, nothing else to watch, and I guess we could watch this. It's the kind of movie I'd watch while playing cards. I kind of half pay attention, and then when the stunts happen, I'd look up and go, oh, cool. And then I go back to the card game. It's just, I don't know. It's got nothing new here. Let's read the write-up. Gotta go to the IMDb because God forbid we put it in. And this is coming out in January. Not a great time to release movies. Former CIA spies Emily and Matt are pulled back into espionage after their secret identities are exposed. Director Seth Gordon, who co-wrote it with Brendan O'Brien. So, I mean, even the movie poster is like, that's it? It's Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz holding guns, and Jamie Foxx also has a cup of coffee. I guess the cup of coffee is supposed to make him like normal dad. I mean, if you're going to heighten anything in this, I would have heightened the comedy. Heighten the mom and dad aspect of this. Maybe make the kids a little younger, have toys all over the place, have them too young to understand what's going on and let the parents lie to them throughout the sequences. That could have been fun. Have them not dress nice and cool. Have them dress like parents. Have you seen Parents? I have. I had a friend, him and his wife, they loved to go out and dress elegantly. And then they had kids. A lot of kids. And Within 2 or 3 kids, he was in sweatpants, eating off his kid's plate because, he's throwing his pieces of hot dog everywhere. Like, that's what I wanted to see if you're going to sell the parent aspect to all this. And then the contrast when they turn into killing machines would be funny. But yeah, it just looks kind of cut and paste. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan, somewhere behind me. Thanks for tuning in. What am I got going on? Tomorrow, I'll be at the Indie Author event at the Bridgeton Public Library from 12 to 3. And then on Sunday, I'll be at Groovy Graveyard from 11 to 4 in Asbury Park, New Jersey. Hope to see you there. We'll see you in the next one.